So Jordan is about to show us a new app he's working on. We reviewed Morphwiz, we reviewed Samplewiz, and this is the first ever
Spacewiz.
Yes. First ever peek anyone is getting of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here you notice there are planets orbiting a sun, and those aren't just eye candy. As you'd imagine, there's a synth and a bunch of synths under the hood there, but how the planets are orbiting and how they're interacting with one another, their gravitational fields as regards each other, different particle trails you create with your finger that hit the planets, these all affect what sounds you hear.
Exactly.
And it would be fair to call this a generative music.
Yeah, it really is. Basically what happens is every planet gets assigned a different sound and various parameters. Like if we go into the planet mode, we can just touch that, and you can see that first of all you can mute and solo, you have a high note and a low note for the voices, you can assign an orbit rate and an orbit width and an orbit height and the mass of a planet, and all these things get pretty interesting because that you can then take one planet and assign its path as a modulator to another. Like you could take, you know, this planet that's rotating around really fast and say I want that to control the low pass filter. But at the basic level, what's really interesting about this program is it's going to ship with all these really beautiful sounds. Let's see, I think we have one that's kind of like playing now. And they are generative, so you can sit back and you can just kind of enjoy what's going on. And to load a sound, we can look, here's some sounds I made recently. We can say floating in time, and I can hit load. And there we go. Let's float in time a little bit. Let's watch it in the full screen. And let's generate some more particles on the screen. And depending where the particles, you know, what planet they knock into, they're going to trigger the sounds of that particular planet. And you can also go to the synth, and you can turn it on and play live against it. We don't hear too much right this minute. We can randomize the synth, see what we get. You can also play on the screen of the main. So for whatever path you go to, let's say we want to pause this one and we're going to load in something like Flying East. There we go.
You get a little more cutoff to this.
Yes, we can do that. More sound. We can also change the attack time. There we go. And you can play on this little keyboard here, but you can also play in the main area. And you can have the filter like assigned to the vertical axis if you want, so you can take that down a little bit and come back here and play. You can go in, you can take the view, and you can make it basically whatever you want. You get really close up to the sun, back out. You can take, let's say, planet 1, which is this kind of sun planet, and say, you know what, we want that to be a lot bigger. So we go in and, whoa, you make the whole thing big, and we can start influencing particles. So at this point, we're influencing particles, and we're playing in real time with the live synth over the generative stuff that's going on. If you go to master, what happens is there's a satellite that you can move around. It's right here, and you can angle the satellite as well. Close this a little bit. So you can go into this, take the satellite, move it here.
So that's the thing that looks like it's shooting at that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And we can determine the angle of the satellite with this little controller here. You can see it actually moving all around. Right, so you can have it shoot wherever you want, and let's make this go. And you can adjust the power of it too. So if you turn up the power, you can see that it's really spitting out these particles, right? And you can adjust the rate, so you could have it.
Now, when a particle hits a planet, do you get a note, or do you get an alteration in the trajectory of that planet?
It's going to be this one's about to hit. And everything depends also on things like your quantization value, and it will play a note if in the mode I'm in right now, it's beat sync. So particle hits a planet and that beat lines up, you'll hear it.
Right.
So, and you also have the bounce off planets. So if I wanted to go into planet mode and select that planet, I could say, right now there's a lot of bounce on that planet, but if I take this bounce control down, you'll get less. So here we're knocking into it now, and you can see what kind of bounce we got from that planet. So what's really cool is we can take this whole thing and go into tonality. We can say, you know what, let's hear the whole thing in like E major pentatonic. So, yes, and it takes the whole, anything you're hearing, and it shifts the entire mode of the thing. So, and you can randomize everything, which gets very interesting. If you go to the preset menu, you can say, I want a random tonal patch, which will change every planet, right, and all the parameters, or I want a random rhythmic patch, which basically we've got an algorithm which goes in and kind of selects more rhythmic sounds than tonal, depending on what you choose. So let's say we want a random rhythmic patch. You can play along with it. You can write your new 20th century composition for piano and generative synth. My guy, Tobias Miller, who I'm doing this with, just told me when I sent him these patches, he said, you know what, I called up one of your patches, hit load, and then he just started to do some of his programming work, working on new features as he was just listening to this and enjoying it, because really it's changing all the time. You know, these particles are bouncing into planets and they're hitting different things, and it's just something that's constantly kind of evolving. And depending on modulation, this patch doesn't have much. It's just modulating the cutoff filter. Planet 8 is assigned to the cutoff filter. Right now, if we look at Planet 8, which is right here, we can see that it's moving there, right? And as it's moving, we're saying in the modulation that its X motion will affect the cutoff filter. So you get this whole nice little matrix of stuff that's going on. You can record to an AIFF file, which is something that all of us will want to do because you get something really cool, you want to use it, and it's awesome. You can also tap tempo on it, which is really fun. There's reverb, there's delay, there's chorus, a couple of filters. You can take the entire movement of the planets and actually time warp it so you can see that it's moving at a certain rate. You can say, you know what, that's all very nice, but let's take the whole thing and let's spin them around faster, or maybe we want to spin them around the other way. So then you go into that, you can actually create something that has a nice little vibe. So time warping is very, very
I can see gravity effects of things on
yes,
things
there's also
well.
a lot of, yeah, just coming
it's
up
like an alpha, right? Or maybe a beta?
It's a beta at this point. I'm at the point right now where we're just like making patches for it and deciding, I'll have to decide which sounds are the ones we'll have in the release. And also I think I want to move this patch menu to the main screen. So when you're here, you're looking at the main screen, you can easily change patches and randomize as well. I think it would be cool to not have to go anywhere and to be able to get to the different sounds and also to be able to randomize. The randomize thing is, it's so much fun. You just hear and you just press a button and you're like, let's see what happens. So that's going to be key. To me, the beauty of creating something like this would be, if it looks beautiful and sounds really cool and it's fun, then if you go in and you start going into, your modulation thing, you start creating something really wild and different scales, you want to get adventurous. If it's deep, that's just like a benefit. That's it. That's Spacewiz.
Sneak peek at Spacewiz. Yeah, and when might we see it?
Yeah, I just think we're a couple weeks out from actually submitting it to the store. So that takes maybe a couple weeks as well. So then it should be out. We're really close. I mean, I'm pleased with the sounds that are coming out, and it's really a lot of fun. And everybody seems to think it's looking really good and getting a lot of nice reaction. So sending it out to beta testers now.